Hey everybody, this is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. So I've got some pretty intense news here. Germany has left the anti-Putin alliance that was formed by the USA that would have prevented Russia from going into Syria. So essentially, Russia, Germany, and even France are going to come together to bring an end to the war in Syria. And this is to stop the constant stream of refugees coming out of there, and likely to protect their own interests in Syria, because there are pipelines that will be running through there that are important to those nations. Now, it's kind of a surprise that Germany left the alliance that they formed with the U.S., but Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov had called upon the U.S. Ministry of Defense to coordinate efforts with the Russian military because both sides literally are invested in Syria, and it would be very important for the U.S. to reinstate the previously ceased operational cooperation with Russia, according to Lavrov. Now, this working with each other is intended to avoid unintentional incidents, like a false flag event, because they are well aware that if they go in there without having this very open and very transparent relationship with the U.S., if they don't do that, then something is going to, quote, happen. Now, Russian military drills in the Mediterranean would be in accordance to international law, according to both sides, Germany and Russia. And Russia is also going to keep delivering weapons to the troops of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to support the struggle against extremist organization of the Islamic State. Now, Russia had already started diplomatic offensive weeks ago, talking about going in there to help. And, the U.S. under no circumstances will they give Russia credit for solving any deadlocked situation, which is basically what's going on now. And if Russia is successful, the U.S. is never going to say, that was, Russia did that. And, of course, the government warned a precautionary of worsening in the refugee crisis if Russia does intervene. Of course, that's called rhetoric and propaganda. Foreign Minister John Kerry went on a surprise visit to Russia in the spring, but without results regarding the Syrian conflict. And it's likely that the U.S. government changed their mind in the face of the worsening of the refugee crisis, that they're now willing to cooperate with Russia in the Middle East. I don't buy that. That's what's being reported, what I just said, but I don't buy that. And here's why I said this was funny earlier. Because now Russia and Germany have basically just made a big move in chess, and they're just, it's almost checkmate right now, or at least a check for sure. And I say that because now if the U.S. is actually worried about terrorists in Syria, which is what they claim they are worried about, then they would have no issues whatsoever allowing these other nations to come in as a coalition force and get rid of those terrorists. But you see, that's not the reason the United States is in Syria. The reason the United States is in Syria is because they want to get rid of Assad. It is in the U.S.'s best interest to be able to put in a puppet government in every one of those important strategic nations in the Middle East for the U.S.'s own personal agenda, whether it be oil or strategic locations, being able to have control over strategic locations, or even to hurt Russia. Anyway, so it's funny because now either the U.S. is going to look like a hypocrite when they tell Russia no, or the U.S. is going to be backed into a corner where they have to allow Russia to help, which will end this conflict in Syria, which means all of the crap that the U.S. has done to prop up this proxy war in Syria to get rid of Assad while claiming, these are terrorists that are doing this, then that's going to go away. And then all of that work will have been in vain. All of those people that died will have been completely and totally in vain. And the U.S. is not going to want to do that. You're going to see something happen. They may go along with it, but they're going to have something up their sleeve, and something's going to happen before Russia probably even sets foot in Syria. And then they're going to be like, we're going to change our mind. We can't do that. Or the focus is going to be somewhere else. Because the U.S. has funded the civil war or attack in Syria. That is solely at the feet of the United States. The United States created this crisis in Syria. While they claim not to have done that. It's absolutely true. You can go back 10 years and this whole thing has been building up to this point since then. All of the signs point to the United States is shoveling money and arms and everything else into the hands of the terrorists in order for those terrorists to go around and topple governments. That way the U.S. can claim, oh, we didn't do that. Well, of course they did, because they were the ones that gave them the means to do so. And they knew they did that. So this is funny because now it backs the U.S. into a corner, and either they're going to look like hypocrites or they're going to go along with it and things will be taken care of in Syria for the most part. And if Russia goes into Syria and they're fighting terrorists in Syria, don't you think that they're likely going to move over to Libya, Yemen, and all these other places and get rid of them there? Yes. See, the U.S. hasn't been willing to put any troops down because they don't want to get rid of ISIS. The U.S. does not want to get rid of ISIS. ISIS is a tool for the United States. That's all it is, nothing more. But if Russia and Germany and France go in there with troops on the ground, they will get rid of those people. They will take care of the terrorist crisis going on in the Middle East. And the United States doesn't want that at all because they've been working this for years. They have been working this for years. So I think this is hilarious. It has backed Obama into a corner, and I'll just keep an eye out on what Obama does in response, and I will do another video on that. We'll see what kind of propagandist crap they're going to throw at Russia and Germany. We'll see. At any rate, keep your eyes open, because something very well may happen very soon. This is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. Peace out.